Let me start with the truth that you will relate to. Every time you decide to grow, negativity around you gets louder. For example, the moment you say, I want more from my life, someone says, be realistic. The moment you focus on your goals, someone reminds you of your past mistakes. Before you could even begin, you lose your mental peace. But here is the secret no one tells you negativity doesn't break your focus in one loud explosion. It leaks in quietly, through comments, through comparison, through doubt. If you don't learn how to protect your focus, the world will happily steal it. So today, if you truly want to stay focused despite negativity, these 7 principles will change the way you think forever. The first key point is guard your mind like it's sacred, and that means treating your thoughts like a private home, not a public park where anyone can walk in with muddy shoes. Most people don't realize this. They lock their doors at night, they protect their passwords, they even put covers on their phones. But their mind, wide open, every opinion enters. Every comment sits down, every insult makes tea and stays for hours. Then we wonder why we feel heavy, why we feel distracted, why focus feels impossible. If your mind is sacred space, then you must decide who gets a seat inside. Because once something enters your mind, it doesn't just sit quietly, it starts rearranging the furniture. Think about this carefully. If someone walked into your living room and dumped trash on the floor, would you say, please continue? Of course not. You would stop them. Yet when someone throws negativity into your mind, a sarcastic remark, a subtle insult, a doubtful look, you politely store it. You replay it at night, you analyze it during breakfast. You carry it to work like a fragile package labeled handle with care. Why? Who taught you that every voice deserves attention? Here is the truth. Attention is expensive. Every minute you give to negativity, every minute stolen from your mission, and stolen time never returns with interest. I once met a young woman who wanted to start a small baking business from her apartment. Nothing fancy, just cakes and cookies. But every time she told someone, they laughed. Everyone bakes. It's too competitive. You'll fail. She listened, she absorbed, she doubted. For months she did nothing. Then one day she asked herself a simple question: why am I letting people who never baked a cake decide my future? That question changed her life. She stopped discussing her plans with people who only discussed problems. She stopped reading random comments online. She created a rule: if it doesn't help me grow, it does not enter my mind. Today her kitchen is small, but her confidence is big. The world didn't change. Her boundaries did. You see, guarding your mind is not about becoming cold. It is about becoming selective. There is a difference. Selective means you choose what aligns with your growth. Cold means you shut down everything. We don't want to shut down. We want to filter. Just like your body rejects unhealthy food after too much junk, your mind must learn to reject unhealthy thoughts. And sometimes you will fail. You will scroll too long. You will compare yourself. You will listen to gossip and pretend it doesn't affect you. It will. The mind is sensitive. It remembers tone. It remembers expressions. It even remembers that one weird look someone gave you in 2014. Yes, the mind is dramatic sometimes. But that is why it needs leadership. Have you noticed how one negative comment can cancel 10 positive ones? Someone can say, you did great, 10 times. But one person says, it was average. And suddenly your brain becomes a detective. Why did they say that? What did they mean? Are they right? The mind, when unguarded, loves drama. It builds entire movies from one sentence. It adds background music. It creates imaginary conversations, and you become the main character in a story that does not even exist. That is not weakness, that is just a lack of discipline. Guarding your mind means catching that movie early and saying, "Stop. This story is not useful." It sounds simple. It is not easy, but it is powerful. Protection also means choosing your environment carefully. Some rooms drain you before you even sit down. Some conversations feel like slow leaks in your energy. You laugh politely, but inside you feel smaller. Why keep returning there? You are not a charity for negative energy. If certain people only discuss complaints, failures, and fears, reduce the time. You don't need to announce it dramatically, just limit exposure. Think of it like sunlight. Too much harsh sun burns the skin. Too much harsh negativity burns the spirit. Even plants need the right environment to grow. And you are no different. Growth is not only about effort, it is also about atmosphere. And here is something deeper. Guarding your mind also means watching your self-talk, because sometimes the loudest critic is not outside, it is inside. You wake up and immediately judge yourself. I am behind. I am not disciplined. I always mess up. Would you speak like that to a friend? Imagine telling your best friend, "You always fail." They would stop being your friend, yet you say it to yourself daily. Guarding your mind means interrupting that voice, not with fake positivity, but with fairness. I made a mistake, yes, but I am learning. I am not there yet, but I am moving. Simple sentences, gentle corrections repeated daily. That is how sacred spaces stay clean. Not by accident, by intention. By intention. The second key point is understand that negativity is a test, not a stop sign. And that means realizing resistance is not there to block your path, it is there to measure your strength. Most people see criticism and immediately assume this is a sign to quit, but what if it is a sign to grow? What if that uncomfortable feeling in your chest is not rejection, but expansion? Think about it. Every time you try something new, something bigger, something slightly uncomfortable, the world reacts, sometimes with doubt, sometimes with laughter, sometimes with silence. And in that moment you must decide, is this a wall or is this a weight meant to build my muscle? When a plane takes off, it does not glide upward gently like a balloon. It faces resistance. Wind pushes against it. Gravity pulls it down. The engines roar louder because something is pushing back. And yet, the pilot does not panic and say, "Oh no, the wind does not like us. Let's cancel the flight." No, the resistance is expected. It is calculated. It is part of the journey. So why, when life pushes back against you, do you assume something is wrong? Resistance is proof that movement is happening. If you were standing still, nothing would push against you. I remember a young man who started posting videos online. He was excited, nervous, hopeful. The first few comments were kind. Then came the classic internet expert. "This is cringe." Another said, "Who do you think you are?" For 2 days, he could not sleep properly. He kept replaying those lines. He almost deleted everything. Then his grandmother said something simple. She said, "If nobody notices you, they cannot criticize you." That sentence made him laugh. It also woke him up. Attention brings opinions. Opinions bring noise. Noise brings tests. Today, he still gets negative comments. But now he smiles. He says, another test." Negativity is like a gym for your character. When you lift weights for the first time, your muscles burn. You feel weak. You look around to see if anyone noticed you struggling with that embarrassingly light dumbbell. Yes, we have all been there. You pretend you meant to lift that weight, but the burn is not punishment, it is growth in progress. The pain means fibers are stretching. Strength is forming. In the same way, when someone doubts you, it stretches your belief. When someone questions you, it strengthens your clarity. If handled properly, negativity becomes training. If handled poorly, it becomes trauma. And here is something important. Not all negativity is loud. Sometimes it is subtle. A raised eyebrow, a quiet laugh, a change in tone. You walk into a room with an idea and walk out with hesitation. That subtle resistance can feel heavier than open criticism. But again, what is it testing? It is testing your conviction. Do you believe in your vision only when everyone nods? Or do you believe in it when the room is silent? Because silence can be very loud, it can make you second guess everything. But silence is also space. Space for you to decide who you are without applause. Consider a small story. A woman decides to go back to school at 40. Immediately, she hears it. Isn't it too late? Why now? Focus on your family. The comments are not evil. They are comfortable. They come from people who chose safety. Now she stands at a crossroads. Does she interpret those words as a warning or as a test of courage? Every meaningful decision will disturb someone's comfort zone. And sometimes that someone is you. You will feel fear. You will feel doubt. That does not mean stop. That means stretch. That means evolve. Growth is awkward. It does not look graceful in the beginning. It looks like confusion. It looks like trial and error. It looks like failing pub. Lightly and laughing about it later. Here is the deeper truth. If nobody criticizes you, you are probably blending in, and blending in feels safe, but it rarely feels fulfilling. When you choose to stand out, to speak up, to build something different, you create friction. Friction creates heat. Heat creates discomfort, but it also creates momentum. Diamonds are formed under pressure. Bread rises in heat. Even popcorn only becomes popcorn after intense pressure. Otherwise, it remains a sad little kernel. Do you want to remain a comfortable kernel? Or are you willing to handle the heat for transformation? Tests are not pleasant. They are not designed to be. They are designed to reveal what you are made of. The third key point is replace reaction with intention. And that means choosing your response before your emotions choose it for you. Most people live on emotional autopilot. Someone says one careless sentence and suddenly the whole day is hijacked. A single comment becomes the headline of your mind. You replay it while brushing your teeth. You replay it while driving. You replay it while pretending to listen in meetings. That is reaction. Fast, unfiltered, automatic. But intention is different. Intention pauses. Intention breathes. Intention asks, is this worth my energy? Because not everything deserves a reaction. Some things deserve silence. Some things deserve a smile. Some things deserve nothing at all. Have you noticed how quickly the body reacts? Your heart rate changes. Your jaw tightens. Your fingers type a reply that feels powerful for 3 seconds and regretful for 3 days. We have all sent that message. The I shouldn't have said that message. Reaction feels strong in the moment. It feels bold. It feels satisfying. But it is often weak because it is uncontrolled. Intention, on the other hand, feels slower. It feels less dramatic. Sometimes it even feels boring. But it is powerful. It is deliberate. It is you deciding, not your wounded pride. I once knew a man who lost a business deal because someone publicly questioned his credibility. The room went quiet. You could almost hear everyone thinking, what will he say? He could have defended himself aggressively. He could have attacked back. Instead, he paused, smiled slightly, and said, "Thank you for raising that. Let me clarify. That was it. Calm, clear. No fireworks." Later, he told me something interesting. He said, "I learned that reacting would protect my ego, responding would protect my future." That line stayed with me because every reaction feeds the ego. Every intentional response feeds your purpose. Let me ask you something honestly. How many arguments have truly improved your life? Think about it. The long text battles, the social media debates, the heated family discussions about things that happened in 2009. Did they move you closer to your goals, or did they just drain your energy? Sometimes we react because we want to feel heard. Sometimes we react because we want to win. But what if winning the argument means losing your peace? What if silence is not weakness, but strategy? There is strength in restraint. There is maturity in choosing calm over chaos. Imagine your emotions like notifications on your phone. They pop up constantly. Anger is typing, jealousy mentioned you, insecurity sent a message. You don't have to open every notification. You don't have to reply to every alert. Yet most people do. They click on every emotional pop-up. They scroll through every negative thought, and then they wonder why their mental battery is always low. Intention means deciding which notifications deserve your attention. Not every vibration deserves your focus. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is put the phone down mentally. There is also humor in this if you look closely. Have you ever reacted strongly to something only to realize later you misunderstood it completely? Maybe someone did not reply to your message for hours. You built a whole story. They are ignoring me. They are upset. They don't respect me. And then they reply, "Sorry, my phone died." Suddenly, all that emotional drama looks unnecessary. The mind loves assumptions. Reaction feeds those assumptions instantly. Intention waits for clarity. Intention asks, "Do I have all the facts?" Most of the time, we don't. And reacting without facts is like driving with your eyes closed. Dramatic but dangerous. Replacing reaction with intention is not about suppressing feelings. It is about guiding them. You can feel anger without exploding. You can feel hurt without attacking. You can feel disappointment without quitting. Feelings are natural. They rise like waves. But you are the surfer, not the wave. You decide how to ride it. And sometimes you will fail. Sometimes you will react. You are human. But the goal is progress, not perfection. The more you practice pausing, even for 5 seconds, the more control you gain. 5 seconds can save friendships. 5 seconds can save opportunities. 5 seconds can save your focus. And in a world that reacts instantly, the person who responds intentionally becomes rare, steady, and unshakable. The fourth key point is create a vision so clear that distractions look small, and that means building a picture of your future so sharp, so alive that random noise cannot compete with it. Most people are distracted not because they are weak, but because they are vague. When you don't know exactly where you are going, every road looks interesting. Every opportunity feels urgent. Every opinion feels important. But when your vision is clear, something powerful happens. The unnecessary begins to look unnecessary. The drama looks childish. The gossip looks boring. Because your eyes are fixed on something bigger. Imagine walking into a grocery store. Without a list, you came for milk. That's it. Just milk. But suddenly you are standing in aisle 7 holding cookies you didn't need, chips you didn't plan to buy, and a random candle that smelled like ocean breeze confidence. How did that happen? Lack of clarity. Now imagine walking in with a clear list. You know the brand, you know the aisle, you know the price. You move differently, you are focused. Life works the same way. When your goals are unclear, distractions seduce you. When your goals are specific, distractions lose their charm. I once spoke to a college student who changed majors 3 times in 2 years. Every semester he felt excited about something new, marketing, then law, then music production. He wasn't lazy, he was confused. Every new idea felt like destiny. But destiny does not change every 4 months. One day, a mentor asked him a simple question: what kind of life do you want to live in 10 years? Not what subject sounds cool, not what impresses people. What kind of life? He sat quietly for a long time. That question forced clarity. When he finally answered it, half his distractions disappeared overnight because now he had a filter. If it didn't match the life he described, it didn't deserve his time. Clarity creates discipline without forcing it. When you deeply know why you wake up early, the alarm clock becomes less annoying. It still rings, you still feel sleepy. Let's be honest, the pillow always feels more loyal than your goals at 5 am. But when the vision is strong, you get up anyway. Not because it's easy, but because it's aligned. Alignment removes inner conflict, and inner conflict is the biggest source of distraction. When your mind argues with your heart, you waste energy. When both agree on a direction, you move with strength. Close your eyes for a moment and ask yourself, can you clearly describe where you are going? Not in motivational words, in real detail. What does your daily life look like? Who are you surrounded by? What kind of work are you doing? How do you feel when you wake up? If the image is blurry, your focus will be blurry too. The brain follows pictures. If the picture is weak, the brain looks elsewhere for excitement. And social media is always ready to offer temporary excitement. So is comparison. So is drama. But those are snacks. Your vision is the meal. There was a woman who dreamed of opening a small community center in her neighborhood. She worked a regular job during the day. She saved money slowly. Friends invited her out often. Parties, trips, random plans. Sometimes she went. Sometimes she said no. When asked why she skipped events, she would smile and say, "I am building something." That sentence protected her time. It wasn't that she disliked fun. She simply loved her vision more. And when you love your vision deeply, saying no becomes easier. You stop fearing missing out because you are invested in something meaningful. Here is something subtle but powerful. A clear vision reduces emotional noise. When someone criticizes you, it stings less because you know where you are headed. When someone succeeds, you feel inspired instead of threatened because you are not competing on random paths. You are walking your own. And that brings peace. Focus is not about blocking the world aggressively. It is about being so engaged with your purpose that the world's noise fades naturally. You don't have to fight every distraction. Many of them shrink on their own when your direction becomes undeniable. The fifth key point is train your mind daily. And that means treating your thoughts like muscles that grow only with consistent practice. See, nobody expects to get physically strong by going to the gym once a month. Yet many people expect mental strength without daily effort. They read one inspiring quote, and think it will protect them for the next 6 weeks. It won't. The world is loud every day. Negativity shows up every day. Distractions knock every day. So your training must also be daily. Not dramatic, not extreme, just steady. Because consistency builds power quietly. Think about brushing your teeth. You don't brush once and say that should last the year. No, you brush every day, sometimes twice. Not because it is exciting, but because it prevents decay. The mind works the same way. If you do not clean it regularly, small negative thoughts begin to stick. A little jealousy here, a little doubt there, a little comparison scrolling at midnight. It builds up slowly, and one day you wake up feeling heavy and you don't even know why. Daily mental training prevents that build-up. It keeps your inner world fresh. I knew a man who started every morning with 10 minutes of silence. No phone, no music, just sitting. At first, he said it felt uncomfortable. His mind jumped around like a hyperactive squirrel. Random memories, grocery lists, old arguments, embarrassing moments from high school. But he kept sitting. Every day. After a few weeks, something shifted. He became less reactive, less anxious. Not because life became easier, but because his mind became steadier. Training does not remove problems. It strengthens your ability to handle them. You don't need complicated rituals. You need intentional habits. Read something that expands your thinking. Listen to something that challenges you. Write down your thoughts instead of letting them swirl endlessly. Even 5 focused minutes can change the tone of your day. The key word is daily. When you skip too often, your discipline weakens. And discipline is like a plant. If you forget to water it, it does not send you a reminder. It just slowly droops. Then you panic and say, "Why am I so unfocused lately?" Because the training stopped. There is also something powerful about winning the first hour of your day. The morning sets the rhythm. If the first thing you do is scroll through chaos, your mind begins the day scattered. You borrow other people's emotions before forming your own. But if you begin with clarity, reading, reflecting, planning, you enter the day grounded. It's like putting on mental armor, not heavy armor, just steady protection. And yes, some mornings you will feel lazy. Your bed will negotiate with you. It will say, 5 more minutes. Beds are very persuasive. But discipline whispers back, stand up. Training your mind also means choosing discomfort on purpose, doing things that stretch you slightly, speaking up when you normally stay silent, finishing a task when you feel like quitting. These small acts build internal respect, and self-respect fuels focus. When you keep promises to yourself, your confidence grows. When you constantly break them, your trust in yourself weakens. It is hard to stay focused when you don't trust your own word. So start small, keep it simple, but keep it consistent. Some days you will not feel motivated. That is normal. Motivation is emotional. Training is intentional. On days when you feel strong, training sharpens you. On days when you feel weak, training saves you. That is the difference. The goal is not to feel inspired every day. The goal is to become stable. A stable mind does not panic at every negative comment. It does not collapse at every obstacle. It bends, it adjusts, it continues. And that strength is not built in one grand moment. It is built in quiet, repeated choices that nobody applauds, but that change you from the inside. The C-ist key point is limit, access to negative energy. And that means deciding who and what gets close enough to influence your mood, your mindset, and your momentum. Not everyone deserves front row seats in your life. Not every conversation deserves your full attention. We often think we must be available to everyone, agreeable to everyone, present in every discussion. But access is powerful. Access shapes atmospheres. Access shapes atmospheres. And atmosphere shapes focus. If you constantly breathe polluted air, you cannot expect to feel energized. The same is true for your mind. The people around you either fuel your clarity or quietly drain it. Think about your phone for a moment. You don't give your password to strangers. You don't hand it to someone who has a habit of deleting important files. You protect it. Yet emotionally, many people have no password. Anyone can walk in with complaints, gossip, criticism, drama, and we absorb it politely. We nod, we listen. We carry it home, then we lie in bed, replaying conversations that had nothing to do with our goals. That is what unlimited access does. It turns your mind into a storage unit for other people's unresolved issues. There was a man who worked in an office where lunch breaks were basically complaint sessions. Every day, same table, same tone. The boss is terrible. The company is failing. Nothing ever works. At first, he joined in. It felt bonding. It felt social. But slowly, he noticed something. Even on good days, he felt irritated. Even when things were going well, he expected problems. The environment was shaping his expectations. So he made a small change. He started taking walks during lunch, sometimes alone, sometimes with one positive colleague. Within weeks, his energy shifted. Same job, same boss, different atmosphere. Sometimes growth is not about changing everything. It is about changing exposure. Now let's be honest. Limiting access feels uncomfortable. You might worry, will they think I'm rude? Will they feel rejected? But protecting your peace is not rejection. It is wisdom. You can still care about people without absorbing their negativity. You can listen without drowning. You can love without losing yourself. Boundaries are not walls, they are filters. A wall blocks everything. A filter allows what is healthy and removes what is harmful. And every focused person learns to build strong filters. Have you ever noticed how some conversations leave you inspired while others leave you exhausted? The difference is not volume, it is energy. You can talk for 2 hours about ideas, growth, dreams, and feel alive. But 10 minutes of gossip can feel like carrying bricks. Pay attention to that feeling. Your body is giving you feedback. Your mind is signaling overload. We ignore those signals too often because we want to be nice. But being nice should not cost you your focus. Being kind does not require being constantly available. Here's something subtle. Negative energy is not always loud or dramatic. Sometimes it hides behind humor, sarcasm. I'm just joking. A friend who laughs at your goals. A relative who says, let's see how long this lasts. It sounds playful, but it plants doubt. Over time, those small comments stack up, and you start shrinking your dreams to make others comfortable. That is the cost of unlimited access. You adjust your ambition to match their insecurity, and that is too expensive. Your peace is valuable. Your vision is valuable. Stop offering discounts. Limiting access also applies to what you consume. News, social media, random opinions from people you would never take advice from in real life. If someone walked into your house daily shouting worst case scenarios, you would eventually ask them to leave. Yet we invite that energy through screens. Constant comparison, constant outrage, constant noise. Then we say, I can't focus. Of course you can't. Your mind is overstimulated. Choose carefully what you allow in, because what enters repeatedly becomes normal, and what becomes normal shapes your beliefs. Focus thrives in calm environments. And sometimes, creating that calm means stepping back quietly, confidently, without apology. The seventh key point is remember who you are becoming. And that means holding on to your future identity so tightly that today's negativity cannot shake it. Too many people forget this. They focus so much on who they used to be or who others think they are that they lose sight of who they are growing into. And when you forget who you are becoming, every insult feels personal. Every failure feels permanent. Every delay feels like destiny, saying no. But when you remember the person you are building, something shifts inside you. You stop reacting like your past self. You start responding like your future self. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine the strongest version of you. Not perfect, not flawless, just stronger, more calm, more disciplined, more confident. How does that version walk into a room? How does that version handle criticism? Do they panic? Do they argue with everyone? Or do they listen, smile slightly, and stay grounded? That future version already exists in potential. The question is, are your daily actions aligned with that identity? Because focus becomes easier when you act from who you are becoming, not from who you were. There was a young athlete who struggled with self-doubt. Every time he made a mistake, he would shake his head and say, "I'm terrible." His coach once pulled him aside and said, "Stop talking like a defeated player. Speak like a champion in training." That sentence confused him at first. He said, "But I'm not a champion yet." The coach replied, "Exactly. You are in training." That changed everything. Instead of seeing mistakes as proof of weakness, he saw them as part of growth. Instead of thinking, "I always fail," he began thinking, "I am learning." The identity shifted. And when identity shifts, focus strengthens. Here is something powerful. Your identity drives your behavior more than your goals do. You can set a goal to stay focused, but if deep down you see yourself as easily distracted, you will act accordingly. You can promise to ignore negativity, but if you believe you are sensitive and fragile, you will absorb everything. So the real work is internal. Who do you believe you are becoming? A person who quits easily, or a person who adjusts and continues? A person who needs approval, or a person who values progress? The answer to those questions determines how you handle noise. Sometimes negativity tries to pull you back into an old version of yourself. Maybe you used to be insecure. Maybe you used to seek validation constantly. And when someone criticizes you, that old identity whispers, "See, nothing has changed." But growth is not erased by one comment. Evolution is not cancelled by one bad day. You are not your worst moment. You are not your last mistake. You are a work in progress. And progress does not move in a straight line. It moves forward, stumbles, adjusts, and keeps going. Let's add a little honesty here. There will be days when you forget who you are becoming. Days when you feel small. Days when you compare yourself to someone else's highlight reel and think, "Maybe I'm not cut out for this." That is human. Even confident people have quiet doubts. The difference is, they don't build a house for those doubts. They let them pass. They remind themselves, "I am not finished yet." Think about a movie. If you judge the entire story after the first 20 minutes, you might miss the transformation. Your life is still unfold. Engine, why decide the ending too early? And sometimes remembering who you are becoming requires patience. Growth can be slow, frustratingly slow, like waiting for water to boil when you are hungry. You keep checking, is it ready? Not yet. Now, still not. But that does not mean the heat is not working. It is working beneath the surface, quietly. Just because results are not visible does not mean development is not happening. The disciplined version of you is forming in small repeated choices. The calm version of you is built in moments when you choose silence over argument. The confident version of you is strengthened every time you stay focused despite noise. And now, take a moment to simply breathe. Feel the weight of the world, the chatter, the noise settle quietly around you. Notice that despite everything swirling outside, there is a space inside you that remains untouched. That space is yours. It is steady, it is quiet, it does not rush, it does not argue, and in that stillness, you can see clearly what matters, what is yours to protect, what deserves your energy, and what does not. The distractions, the doubts, the voices that try to pull you off course, they exist, yes, but they do not define you. Your focus is not about forcing yourself through endless struggle. It is about choosing what belongs to you, what aligns with your purpose, and letting the rest fall away naturally. Every day, every small decision, every moment you return to that inner clarity, you strengthen something invisible but unshakable. It is the quiet power that holds you steady when storms arrive. It is the calm that allows you to see opportunity where others see chaos. It is the awareness that your journey, your growth, your identity, these are yours alone to shape. And as you step back into your life, remember this: you are not fragile. You are not at the mercy of every voice, every opinion, every wave of negativity. You carry a center within you, a place of quiet determination that grows stronger with every conscious choice. It may feel small sometimes. It may feel unnoticed, but it is real. And it is enough. Enough to keep going. Enough to rise above the noise. Enough to hold your vision steady while the world pulls in every direction. Your path forward does not need permission. Your clarity does not need approval. Your focus does not require agreement from anyone else. You can navigate your days with patience, with intention, with the steady confidence of someone who knows their own mind, respects their own growth, and honors their own becoming. In that respect, you are unmovable, not because life bends for you, but because you have chosen to stand quietly firm in yourself. Carry that presence into your next moments. Let it shape how you speak, how you listen, how you act. Let it be the reason small disturbances do not steal your energy. Let it remind you that even when the world seems loud, your inner rhythm remains calm and deliberate. This is not a shield, it is a foundation. A foundation that allows you to move through challenges, to respond instead of react, and to walk steadily toward the person you are becoming. And when the noise comes, as it always will, pause, breathe. Remember the quiet strength that is already within you. Remember that focus is not something to chase. It is something to inhabit, something you return to, something you protect. With each day, it grows. With each choice, it deepens. And in that deepening, you begin to move through life differently. Not rushed, not frantic, not shaken, but with clarity, with purpose, with quiet power. And in the stillness of that knowing, there is peace. Not a loud, temporary peace, not a surface calm, but the kind that rests deep, steady, unshakable. The kind that allows you to look at the world, at its noise, at its chaos, and move through it without losing yourself. That is the gift of focus. That is the result of clarity. That is the quiet strength you carry now, and it is yours to hold, always.